bench has played a lot lately, you know, the big key in the past 2 games. And I think even though it was only 5-0 tonight, bench points wise, I think your bench played a lot more than their bench. And do you think that made a difference down the stretch when you outscored them 18-3 over the last 5 minutes? Do you think that was a key?
Absolutely. You know, Joe, Garrett, JP Pegues, Tyrese coming off the bench and being able to not only sustain but at times push leads up for us or decrease leads has been huge for us. You know, at the beginning of the year, we were playing some guys, Conley, myself, Mike, and Alex, upwards of 35 minutes a night. And, you know, we just don't think that's sustainable for our style of play. And those guys being able to step up and grow up quickly has been huge. You know, the points, we're not really worried about that. They contributed in many other ways. Like Garrett comes out and has 6 rebounds in 18 minutes. You know, 1 assist, only 1 turnover, a couple blocks. Like that's huge for us.
Do you feel can you feel yourself being fresher?
Absolutely.
Down the stretch the past couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
To that point, like I think you're 8 of 14 from 3 the past 2 games, but down the stretch you hit a couple of threes that were huge. It felt like to me that Stevens might have been a little bit more winded than you were. Can you just talk about that, and can you talk about your shot? It appears you've been working on that a lot lately. Can you talk about your perimeter shot and how much improvement and what you've been doing to kind of just bring that along and be such a consistent shooter down the stretch?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, it's to that same point. Garrett, Joe Anderson, Pegues, and Tyrese being able to spell us twice a half for, 2 minutes apiece, 2.5 minutes apiece. That's huge. That's really big for us. And, you know, keeps our legs fresher longer. And not everybody's fortunate enough to be able to do that. And we really are. And we as older guys appreciate that. And we appreciate how hard they play and how willing they are to learn and take our criticisms as well as our advice. You know, we're really fortunate to have a group of guys that are willing to do that. But to my shooting, you know, I was in a little bit of a slump about midway through the year. I knew I was a better shooter than what I was displaying. My teammates told me just to keep shooting. You know, guys pulled me into the gym. Coach Johnson working with me every day. Coach Ritchie telling me just keep shooting during games and outside of games. You know, I got a pretty good guy to my left. Watch a little bit of his film, get it right. But yeah, it's a lot of it is a lot of shooting is confidence, and once again, I'm thankful that these guys stuck with me till I could get out of this slump.
I'll tell you, the shot that's confident is the one you hit at the end, because it's always been my experience that a lot of people have trouble shooting if they don't have the rhythm of coming off the dribble. And you stood out there, and they didn't come out. And it must have been about 1,001, 1,002, and then you popped it.
Yes, sir.
And I think you rather enjoyed it too from your reaction as well. But I mean, not everybody. A lot of people have trouble doing that because they need to come off the dribble and put up a shot. I don't know. Do you? Have you ever noticed that? I mean, to me, people would just stand out there like at the free throw line and then put it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely easier when it's in the flow of the offense, you know, instead of just thinking about it. You know, it might get those thoughts in your head, but that was a big-time shot. You knocked it down, so we're happy about it.
Conley, you know, VMI is kind of similar to you guys. I think Stevens and Slawson are kind of similar players in a lot of ways. Is it easier to play a team like that or kind of harder in a weird way?
I mean, they're tough to play. They got the number 1 offense in the league, so anytime you got to play against that, that's tough. I mean, some of the concepts, you know, we're familiar with because we guard in practice, but it's still hard to guard. And obviously for the rest of the league, it's hard to guard because they're putting up what they put up every game.
I thought, Jalen, you made some big defensive plays, and I think Mike Bothwell had a big defensive play on one end, and then, you know, I think he had an and one on the other end. There's been several moments like that in the past dunk in the last game, but there's been a defensive play on one end and it translates into offense on the other. Could you just talk about, the energy and how much fuel you guys, is that still because you guys feel fresher down the stretch now? Is that a testament to that, a guy being able to make a play on one end and then go down and make a play on the other?
I don't know if that necessarily has to do with our freshness. I would say that's more the game honoring toughness. That's a big thing that we talk about a lot here. And if you listen to Coach Ritchie talk, you'll hear him say a lot about that. So, we talk about that, and then we talk about the ball finds energy.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times, that's what I would attribute it to.
Mm-hmm.
You make a good play on defense, and you sprint the floor, and you do all your hard work early. Okay, the ball finds energy, or that's the game honoring toughness.
Mm-hmm.
So that's more what I would attribute it to.
Conley at Drury, I know you put up big numbers, but is this a different atmosphere in the versatility of this team? It's like it's balanced. I can't imagine a team being more balanced or having more weapons to share.
I mean, we have 3 guys that average 15 a game at least,
Right.
and so that's pretty rare. I don't know how rare it is across the country, but I haven't seen it very often. So if you got 3 guys like Slawson, Mike, and Alex, that all conference level guys, I mean, that's tough to stop.
Theoretically, not everybody has to be hitting. The trick is finding the people who are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like theoretically, if the big 3 is one night it's Joe, one night it's you, 2 nights it's you, somebody, and I mean, there's so much, and that firepower is growing as the season goes along. The team is getting more. Richie said something the other day that struck me when he said that depth playing hard is better than starters tiring.
Mm-hmm.
Having a bench in there wide open is better than having the starters that wear it out. And it seems like to me that's the one fundamental difference between this team and previous ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of course, you weren't on previous ones. But.
Yeah. I mean, I think just teams, they have to game plan for those 3, or they're going to beat them. And so whenever it's my night or Joe's night or Peguese's night like it was last week, I mean, I think it's right for the taking, just because those guys are so good.
Conley, this was nobody in the country's got more 3-pointers than these 2 teams tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're all made aware of that.
Yeah.
And with the big emphasis on rebounding, and y'all had 47 tonight, including 18 on offense. How was that? I mean, you knew, obviously, 3-pointers were going to fly tonight.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to be imperative that guards rebound. And I think you had a bunch of big offensive ones, especially early as y'all took control. Can you speak to how that played into the game and how much of an emphasis that was for you guys, the guards to come through with the rebounds as well tonight?
Yeah, I mean, especially how we were playing Stevens, we're fronting him, and so it gets him positioning for the defensive or offensive rebound. So it's huge for us guards to crack down and get those boards. I mean, offensive rebounding is really important to our game. We get a lot of 3s up also, so we get a lot of long misses. So if we can create those extra possessions, we think we're good enough shooters. We're going to make, I don't know how many, but we're going to make a lot of them.
Yeah, and then they missed it a lot too, but they didn't get the offensive rebounds that you guys got.
Yep. And we've been hurt by some offensive rebounds. And so in practice, we've just drilled that, and I think we're getting a little better at it. We still got some ways to go, but it's trending in the right direction.
I was just gonna say, looking at the stat sheet, they don't turn the ball over a lot, but they did turn it over 12 times tonight, 8 off steals. And I thought a lot of those were you guys just getting your hands on the ball. Like, I think you had one late in the game, Jalen, where you just kind of stole it right out of the guy's hands. I'm not sure who it was, but that seemed to be, you guys took them out of their rhythm a little bit. Can you just speak to that defensively and how hard it is to play a team like that doesn't turn it over a lot?
Yeah, I think this team gets a lot of recognition on our offensive versatility. I don't think people realize how versatile, everybody that we put on the floor is. Like Conley, right here to my left, quote unquote, probably our second smallest starter. He gets matched up on a 4-man. I don't worry about him at all because he's tough as nails. Marcus Foster can guard anybody in the country when he wants to. Mike Bothwell, obviously, is 6'3" guard that's very heady, and Alex Hunter is strong as an ox and lightning fast. So when this team wants to, we can sit down and be in gaps, get deflections on and off the ball. We're pretty long for the heights that we put on the court, and we're really athletic as well. So I think when we put our mind to it and we decide, okay, it's time to sit down, get our hands on balls, then we're really, really tough to score on. And that's why we're trending #1 defense in the SoCon.